Hey, what's up? In this video, I'm going to walk you through how one of my clients, Katie, a busy working mom of three, went from frustrated, overwhelmed, and stuck to losing 22 pounds and 10 inches off of her belly, toning her arms and legs, and finally feeling good in her skin again in just 3 months without spending hours in the gym or giving up her favorite foods or wine nights or weekends with the fam. So, this isn't going to be theory. It's a step by step breakdown of exactly how we helped her do it. We're going to break down what wasn't working, what we did differently inside the fit and free method, and how she finally got the results she's been chasing for years. So, if you're a woman who's been trying to lose weight and feel like nothing's working anymore, you're going to want to stick around. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. So, first things first, let's talk about the problem and why nothing else worked. So, you're going to see here, this is where Katie started out at. All right. And this is a picture of her out with her kids at one of the trampoline places, right? Something where, you're being active and you can see kind of behind the smile, there was an unhappiness with where her health was at, where her body had gotten at, and just a lack of that level of confidence. And so before Katie came to me, she felt stuck. She had tried everything. She had tried keto, intuitive eating, low carb. She had downloaded all the fitness apps because she had paid for all the macro calculators, and there was still no change. She even followed the Instagram workouts from ripped blonde chicks. Those are her words. It's not mine, her words. But nothing clicked. She was working hard, but she wasn't seeing results. And meanwhile, her husband was eating whatever he wanted. He was skipping workouts and he was still dropping weight. And so she felt frustrated and confused. She'd look at her husband eating those cheat meals and dropping weight, and she just feel stuck. Her words were, "It's like I'm living in a fat suit I can't take off." Think about that, guys. She was uncomfortable in swimsuits. She hated how she looked in pictures. She felt like her body was fighting against her, and she just didn't feel like herself. And she was scared that if nothing changed, she'd just stay stuck, exhausted, bloated, and mentally drained. And worst of all, she was trying, like she was putting in the effort, and it just wasn't working. Okay. Now, here's why most diets fail women like Katie. You're going to see here some of the things that Katie put on her welcome questionnaire when, she came on as a client. And the biggest struggle that she said that she faces, she's like, the scale won't go down regardless of what I believe to be healthy eating and a good workout routine. And, I asked, why do you think that you struggle with that? And she said, I'm not sure if I'm doing nutritions or workouts correctly. It was easier in my 20s. I think things are different for me now in my 30s. And so a lot of you watching this may feel this way because a lot of women feel this way. And it's because most programs don't work because they're not made for you. Most programs are built for 22-year-old gym rats with no kids and no real responsibilities. They're cookie cutter. And they're not made for moms who are in their 30s or 40s who are dealing with stress, hormone changes, work, and family life all at once. They give you these restrictive meal plans and they tell you to do a million things perfectly, and that's just not sustainable. And they don't teach you how to adjust when life gets busy. They don't teach you how to eat at a birthday party or order at a restaurant. They don't account for your hormones shifting in their 30s and their 40s, raising kids, managing a household, and trying to prioritize yourself all at the same time, and the emotional side of food and body image. So, yeah, you can white knuckle it for 2 weeks on a new diet, okay, and you can lose weight for 2 weeks or maybe even a few months. But the second that life happens, the second that life hits, it all falls apart and you gain it all back. So here is what we did instead inside of the Fit and Free method. Okay. So when Katie joined the Fit and Free method, we did things totally different. All right. So here's how we flipped everything on its head and we got her results really fast. All right. So, number one is we personalized everything. So, you're going to see here, this was her beginning welcome questionnaire. We got in depth data on top of having a 1 to 2 hour conversation with her before even stepping in to the onboarding phase of the program. We made sure that we got all of the information so that we could actually personalize this to where Katie was at. Okay. So we gathered all of her info, her daily schedule, her lifestyle, her fitness level, her eating habits, her hormones, and her stress levels, the complete picture, not just how many calories she should be eating, but what would actually work in her real life. And so what this allowed us to do is just let us build something that actually fit her life and not just some one size fits all plan. Okay. Now, the second thing that we did is we taught her why things work. Okay. So you're going to see here a screenshot from one of 5 onboarding videos that every single client gets when they step in. And Katie got this same process as well. Right. And so you see, we go through things like beliefs that you probably have right now around food, around exercise, around your lifestyle, around your health, around what's possible for you. And we focus on shifting those beliefs to align with the woman, with the mom that you want to be. And so that's a big focus in making sure that you don't just know what to do, but you know why you're doing it, right? So like we didn't just hand her a meal plan. She learned exactly how fat loss works, why calories matter, what protein actually does, right? Everyone says eat in a calorie deficit, eat more protein, but doesn't ever explain to you how it actually works, why it matters, and how to actually implement it into your real life. Which brings me to kind of the next point, which is we taught her how to stay flexible. So she got that full breakdown on how fat loss really works, how to structure meals around real life. Like, yes, even things like pasta night, pizza night, sports games, for your kids, dinner with your girls, all those different types of things, and how to track food without obsession, right? Because that's the big thing people have in their mind a lot of times around tracking food is like, oh my God, I have to be obsessed and I have to be on my phone 24/7. No, we don't want that, right? We want it to take a couple minutes and you're done for the day, right? And so that's what we taught her how to do. So we gave her short videos, checklists, cheat sheets, clear steps that she could follow so that she would have clear thinking on a day-to-day basis. So now when she makes a choice, she knows what she's doing and why it works. Because when you understand it, you can sustain it. And that's the key to long-term success. All right. Now, the third thing that we did is we focused on hormone aware strength training. So you're going to see the inside here of one of Katie's example workouts. Okay. So what you see here up in the instruction section is you can't see the full thing, but there is like a detailed breakdown on like if you have never stepped foot in a gym, you would be able to read these workout instructions and know how to go execute your workouts. Okay. And that's the goal, is that it doesn't matter what your experience level is. We want to build a level of confidence and a level of self-assurance in the gym when you step in, right? And then you'll see as well that there is, obviously sets and reps programs so that like Katie didn't have to think. She literally just went in the gym and said, this is the exercise I'm doing. This is how many sets I need to do. This is how many reps that I need to do. And this is how many minutes, which you're going to see on here as well, that I need to rest in between every single set. She doesn't have to think. If there's an exercise she doesn't know how to do, next to every single exercise is a video demonstration for complete beginners, or if you're more advanced, little techniques that you can learn so that it's very easy for you to go in, execute your workout. You don't have to worry about, oh, if my form isn't perfect, I'm not going to get results. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, I'm going to risk injury, because these workouts are designed for you to be able to develop your form over time and never have to worry about the risk of injury and feel confident and comfortable in the gym. Okay. So Katie focused on just 60-minute strength training workouts, and sometimes they're as short as 45 minutes. And we built her a custom plan like you saw here. So you'll see there's no endless cardio. There's no like random circuits that just leave you dying and out of breath, but don't give you results. And we structured her strength training to be built for the female body. Okay. She had a full plan. There was no guesswork, which exercise to do, how many sets, how many reps, also how to pick the right weight, right? That's a big question people have. And in those instructions, we teach, clients like Katie how to pick the right weight and be able to see progress in the gym and what to avoid during our workouts, right? So it was just clear structure. So it's the same workouts for a few weeks because usually, what people think is like, oh, I need to switch up the workouts to confuse my body, or I need to switch up the workouts so I don't get bored. No, we want to keep them the same for a few weeks so that she can progress and not just be in the gym sweating and aimlessly working out. And then after a few weeks, then we can switch the workouts. And during that few week period of time where we're keeping the workouts the same, right? The way we keep them exciting is we're continuing to try and challenge ourselves, right? We're continuing to try and lift just a little bit more each week. And that's how we challenge ourselves and keep the workouts interesting and then do that switch. Okay. And so by doing that, her workouts didn't just burn calories. They built lean muscle, they supported her hormones, and they helped her drop fat faster. And they were flexible, right? So a lot of the times, right, like if you go hire a trainer at your gym, right, it's like you have to go to the gym on these certain days. If something comes up with your kids, if something comes up with work, if something comes up with your family, if something comes up with your social life, you can't just change. You have to pay a cancellation fee, right? And then maybe you can get that workout rescheduled during the week. That wasn't what we wanted to do here. We didn't want her on some schedule that was not flexible, right? If she couldn't go on Monday, right? She missed a Monday, it's no big deal. She could just swap in and go on Tuesday, right? We reschedule the workout, she goes on Tuesday. And so it makes it a life-proof formula to actually fit around your real, actual life and the obstacles that sometimes present themselves in them. Okay. Now, the fourth thing that we did is we built a lifestyle around it. Now, what you're going to see here is you are going to see an insight into the app that all my clients, including Katie, get access to, where we have their customized habits inside of the app so that they can keep track of the lifestyle habits that they're building around their health, right? So you'll see here we have things like sleep, right, which is so important for your hormone health as a woman. It is so important for your energy levels, and it's super important for fat loss, right? It's going to be one of the things that promotes recovery, right? And as well, it is one of the biggest factors in your body actually being able to lose body fat. As well, right? We're going to see there's reminders in here to plan your nutrition out the next day so that you don't have to track during the day, right? You just take a couple minutes, you plan it out, you plug it in, and you go into the next day, and boom, you're already planned out. You have no food restrictions. You're just eating the foods that you want to eat. So there's no thinking. That's what makes it a simple, easy lifestyle, right? There's reminders to weigh yourself each morning, right? We don't make a super huge emphasis on the scale, right? Because there's a ton of other metrics that are going to be way more important. How you are feeling, how your clothes are fitting, how are your inch measurements going? But weight is one measurement that we look at, but we don't care about that day-to-day weight, right? That's going to fluctuate every single day. We're simply weighing ourselves so that we have that data point. Because if we can combine all that data for the week, we know what our average weight was. And that's going to tell us a lot more about where things are at. And if we just compare those averages week to week and we don't pay attention to, oh, every single week the scale has to be going down. It's like, no, if over a month's period of time, the scale is trending down, we know we're moving in the right direction. We know we're losing body fat. And more importantly, we're looking at progress photos. We're looking at inches. We're looking at how we're feeling, how our energy levels are, how our lifestyle is, right? Or we have more of a routine and something that fits into our life and that is sustainable. Because if we can sustain this long term, we will get to the end goal, right? And then as well, you're going to see here like, steps that, Katie got on a daily basis, right? And looking and making sure that she's staying active outside of the gym in her day-to-day life, right? And so you're going to see all of these different types of metrics here inside of the app. And that's how we help build a lifestyle around this and not just made it just about, well, get some workouts in and eat some, food that's better, right? We were able to actually build a lifestyle and habits that fit in to her current existing lifestyle as a mother, with all of these different things going on. And so we focused on, more than just workouts and food. Like I just said, we gave her a daily step goal. So Katie hit the 10,000 steps per day consistently without stressing. That's the biggest part, right? A lot of times, if you're not hitting 10,000 steps, I know for me, I know for a lot of my clients coming in, when you're not hitting 10,000 steps and you hear that number, it sounds like such an insurmountable thing. But the big thing that we do is we teach, clients like Katie how to actually implement this into their day-to-day lives, with work and with kids and with the social life and all these different other obligations, how to implement it and make it super easy without stressing. And because we did that with Katie, she even started pushing for more because she felt so good, right? We increased her water intake to 110 ounces of water a day. And so she was drinking enough water without having to chug like gallons and gallons of water, right? And so that's a big thing as well, as like we taught strategies around that, right? It wasn't just like drink 110 ounces of water. It's like, here's exactly how you can get it in during your day, right? There's things like, there is an app that we have all of our clients get that allows them to get reminders that says drink exactly this much water right now, right? And it goes off every couple hours. And so the client can, basically mindlessly just go, okay, I'll drink 8 ounces of water right now. And then by later in the afternoon, their water goal is complete. They're not up late all night trying to chug water, and then they're up all night going to the restroom. Their sleep's getting messed up, all those different types of things. No, it's like they don't have to think. They just literally drink the water when the reminder goes off, and that makes it super, super easy. We also fixed her sleeping habits, right? Which, like I mentioned earlier, that is going to be huge for helping your hormones. So this was very helpful in helping balance her hormones out. So we focus on 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. We taught her strategies like making sure that you're sleeping in a cold room, right? So sleeping in a room that's, anywhere from like 67 to, even down as low as 65, all the way, as high as maybe like 69, 70 degrees, showering before bed, fresh, clean sheets, blackout curtains, no screen time, 30 minutes before bed. Which something that you can do there to still enjoy, things like TV or your phone or things like that later in the evening is just completely turn the brightness down on your phone at night. And then on your TV, turn the backlight in the brightness settings all the way down. So you'll still be able to see the TV, but all of the blue light that is emitted from the TV is going to be shut off. And that is going to help your brain basically start to realize, okay, it's time to go to bed. Because when your brain sees that blue light, when it sees the bright lights, it thinks, oh, I'm still supposed to be awake. It's still daytime. And so by doing that, we helped her get better with her sleep. Another little trick, another little tip that we teach our clients here is to use black screen rain sound videos on YouTube on your TV. So what these are these are videos that have a completely black screen. They are meant for sleep so that they don't emit any light. Okay. But then they play rain sounds for like 14 hours straight. Right. And so you leave that on while you're going to bed, and those rain sounds help calm your brain, help calm your body, and help put you to sleep. It is incredible. It has helped me get some of the best sleep of my life. We also gave Katie, and we give our clients, a sleep aid protocol. So we want to focus on natural sleep aids, right? We don't want to focus on something that's going to sedate us and ruin the quality of our sleep and just basically knock us out, right? And so what we do a combination of is we do a combination of magnesium, right? And the magnesium that I would suggest, and that I suggest to my clients, is called Jigsaw, and you can get it off of Amazon. Just look up Jigsaw magnesium, right? And you take that about an hour or two before bed. And then you also as well can take zero point 0.5 milligram dosage of melatonin. Okay. You can also get this off of Amazon. Any brand will work. And the reason why we want to go with zero point 0.5 milligrams is because when you take too much melatonin, you're sedating yourself, right? Your body naturally produces melatonin, but when you put the melatonin into overdrive, it starts to mess up with your natural sleep rhythm and with your deep sleep. But studies have found, and this is what we teach our clients, is that zero point 0.5 milligrams or less helps actually stay regulated with your natural sleep rhythm and get natural deep sleep. Okay. So we recommend that to our clients like Katie, and that helps their sleep quality immensely. Right. We also teach habits like nighttime journaling, right, to help close the open loops in your brain. Because a lot of times you can't fall asleep because you're stressed, you're anxious, you're overwhelmed because of all the responsibilities you have as a mother with work, with your family, all these different types of things, different life stuff that's happening. And so the journaling technique that we teach is basically taking a notepad and writing down all the thoughts that are bothering you or worrying you or negative, and then writing down how those thoughts make you feel, and then writing down how that is affecting your actions on a daily basis, and then writing down how that is affecting the outcome of certain situations in your day. Then what we have them do is we have them write down the thoughts that they want to adopt, the opposite thoughts, the positive thoughts, the perspective shift, and then how that thought makes them feel, and then how they think that's going to change their actions, and then how they think that's going to change their outcomes. And then that helps close that open loop in their mind. It gives them peace of mind that they've shifted their perspective on it. And then the next morning, they just read that out loud to themselves, right? And then as they're going about their day, when those thoughts pop up, what's the next thought that immediately pops up? That perspective shift, that different thought, that positive thought that they wrote down. And now that's how they rewire their brain and how they reduce stress and anxiety and overwhelm. And they're able to get better sleep on a nightly basis. So it's things like that where we really go in depth on making sure that we are developing the ability to build these lifestyle habits that really help, right? And we worked on her mindset, right? So one on one, when I checked in daily, if there were things with her mindset, like I would send a voice note and I would work through it, right? And I would always go through the process of like, okay, what are we thinking? Like, what are the actual thoughts, right? How is this making us feel, right? And then like, what is this like leading to? And like, what outcome is this getting us? And then we look at that outcome and we say, now, what do you think about that outcome? Because that's what's leading to this being an endless cycle. So if we want to shift this, we've got to shift our perspective on how we're thinking about it. Right. And we do this on daily check ins. We do this on weekly check in videos. Right. The journaling exercise that I mentioned that's very, very helpful. And just being able to really, reshift and reprogram our mind on how we think about these things so that we can have a better, healthier relationship with things like food, with our body, with our marriages, with being a mom, with our social lives and relationships with friends and all these different types of things, so that we can really have the right level of thinking to be able to consistently show up on a daily basis, right? We taught her how to handle bloating and digestion like a boss, right? So, we do things like, what I like to do is I like to see how a client's body is responding, just like, kind of with Katie, like how her body was responding to the typical foods that she was eating on a daily basis. If bloating and digestion isn't a problem, cool. Let's not change anything. Let's not like, make anything like more difficult or more like, intricate. If we are having issues with bloating and digestion, we focus on little habits in order to change those, right? So we start to cut back on things like artificial sweeteners, added sugars, grains, gluten, things like that. Heavily processed foods. And the key word there is like cutting back. It doesn't mean like, oh my God, never touch those things again. It doesn't mean like if you're out to dinner with your family, be a weirdo, right? That's not what it means. It means like go enjoy yourself when you're out with your family. But if you're at home and you can make a swap that you really enjoy, but that helps promote that side of things, then that's something we're going to encourage, ourselves to do more consistently as well. There's little things like, here's a little like simple hack is after a meal, either have a glass of water or a little glass of bone broth, if you like bone broth, right? And then go move and walk around for like 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. That doesn't mean you need to like go outside on a walk or anything like that, but like walk around your home, like walk, like if you want to walk outside, like walk outside, walk around the office, right? Just get some movement in, right? And what that does is that helps your body better digest the meal that you just had. Okay. And so, it's things like that that we really focus on, with bloating and digestion. If you go on, the rest of my YouTube channel, you will see there's a video I did on how to stop bloating fast. Those are the types of techniques that we implement and the type of, dietary changes that we suggest like implementing, just more of. Again, it's not about like, go hardcore, cut everything out, never touch anything again. Like, not that. Like, that is not a good idea. But what is a good idea is finding balance of including more of those things or just making slightly smarter choices that you really love and that you enjoy. So if you guys want to see more on like how we did that with a client like Katie, go watch that video. But then most importantly, she learned how to stop trying to be perfect. Okay. This is a big thing. A lot of clients come in, and I know this was me in the beginning, and it made me miserable, is you feel like you can never mess up. You can never have a bad moment. You can never have a bad day, right? You can. And the biggest thing that we focus on, like if we have a bad moment, is there's two things. It's what happened, right? And it's not all the things around us, right? Because like all of those things played a factor, but we can't control those things, right? It's what happened within our control. What was the planning that maybe we did or didn't do? Like, what is the decision that we maybe didn't make or we made a poor decision, right? What is the thought process that maybe wasn't healthy for us, right? And then once we can establish like what happened, then we focus on with, a client like Katie is, okay, what can we do better next time then in order to make sure that that doesn't happen? Because we can't change what happened yesterday. So there's no reason to beat ourselves up or feel guilty or feel like a failure or quit or get frustrated or get defensive or get angry. Like none of those things are going to be productive, right? But what can be productive is if we just take it as an opportunity of like, this is a win because like now I get to like learn something new so that the next time that I'm in that position, I know exactly what to do. And I'm going to remember, oh, yeah, the last time this happened, I didn't do as well with it because like I was thinking this way or I didn't do this thing. And now that I'm thinking about it this way or doing this thing, I'm going to be able to hit it and get it done. And so she started being consistent from that, right? Because nobody's perfect. I am not perfect. I have been doing this for 13 years and I'm not perfect in my journey, but I focus on being consistent. And when I make a mistake, I look at it, I just take responsibility in the things that I can control. And then I focus on how I can be better the next time. And then I go be better. Right. And so that's how you start being consistent. And that's how she started being consistent. This wasn't just, her being on a diet. Right. Big thing I tell my clients and I told Katie is like, I don't want you to view this as like you're in some program. Like, I want you to view this as you're making changes to your life to build a lifestyle that is built around the current structure that you have, just in a better and healthier way for you. Right. And that makes it less of like a pressure or less of like feeling like there's some chore or like you got to do something every day. It feels like, no, this is just my life and I'm making better choices. So she was living a brand new lifestyle, and that was the biggest thing. And then the fifth thing is we set daily simple targets. So you're going to see here like a breakdown of some of the foods that Katie ate on a daily basis. So you're going to see things like she ate hamburgers, right? You know, she, had, other stuff that was like healthier, like, broccoli. She had, protein cereal, right? Like this chocolate cereal, right? There's other things in here like she had chewy bars, right? She had caramel coffee. She had energy drinks, right? She had all of these different types of things. She has a chocolate donut in here, right? She was eating all the stuff that she wanted to eat, right? She had an English muffin, right? So she's eating all of these things that she wanted to eat. And because she had the freedom and flexibility and didn't have to track a million things, it didn't have to be on her phone all day and didn't have to obsess over food, it was just super easy, mindless, thoughtless, and enjoyable for her, right? And so, she didn't have like a million things to hit. The daily targets for Katie were super simple, right? So we kept it super simple by going with, her calorie goal was 1,779 calories. Okay. Her protein goal is 159 grams of protein. Her water goal, as I mentioned earlier, was 110 ounces of water. And then she just needed to get 8 ounces of a fruit and 8 ounces of a veggie in on a daily basis. That's it. And so like no food was off limit, right? That was the big thing that made it sustainable. It's like there's absolutely no foods that were off limit. There was no guilt, right, around food. Like, oh my God, I ate this bad food. I'm so bad. I suck at this. Like there was none of that. It was just consistency, right? And that was the big thing. She wanted chocolate, right? She saw like, and there's the chocolate donut. She wanted chocolate. She wanted wine. She had it, right? She wanted pizza. She had it. She wanted a burger. She had it. She just planned for it. That's it. Because when you plan for it, there's no guilt, right? There's no starting over on Monday, right? And that was the big thing that built the consistency. And the biggest part of that I kind of touched on a little bit earlier is she planned her meals the night before using MyFitnessPal, which took 5 minutes max. And quite honestly, as time went on, it took a couple minutes because all she had to do was copy things over, right? So if you wanted to do this, literally, you could go do this right now. And literally, all you would have to do is open up MyFitnessPal, plug in 8 ounces of your favorite fruit into your log for tomorrow, plug in 8 ounces of your favorite veggies in your log for tomorrow. Then look at how much protein you have left for the day. And then plug in lean protein sources into each of the meals, right, that you're planning to have. So let's say you plan to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, right? Maybe a snack, right? Plan in, an adequate amount. So like, let's say you had 120 grams of protein left for the day and you had, there's say 3 meals and a snack, right, that you're going to eat. So four more times you're going to eat, right? You would just put 30 grams worth of protein into each of those meals, right? And then you would zero out your protein goal. Now you're going to have a ton of calories left, right? And you can literally put in whatever you want. You could put in a chocolate donut. You can put in wine, right? You could put in chips. You could put in popcorn. You could put in pizza. You could put in, bread. Like it doesn't matter, right? Fries, right? Whatever you want, avocado, queso, like whatever you want, put it in there. And that allows you to be able to have the flexibility and freedom with little to no time investment to get towards your goals. And so, like I said, you're going to notice a lot of the times, like Katie noticed, like a lot of the core foods like you eat every single day, and then there's little variety with like certain things or like times you go out to eat and like things like that. And so this gave her the freedom and the structure, and that's what made this combination actually work. Okay. Now, then the big thing was there was the mindset shift. So this is from one of Katie's check-ins a couple of months in. And, on my check-in forms that we have for clients, we always have them tell us something that they're proud of that week, right? And the reason for that is because it is important to always let your mind know you are making progress forward. No matter what obstacles you may face, you are always making progress forward if you are doing the work, right? And so the thing that Katie put on this check-in form was she goes, I hit my goals every day, and overall I was less tired, right? And this was one of those big signs that she was having maybe the most powerful shift, which was she was starting to believe in herself again. She wasn't scared of food. She wasn't scared of missing a day. She wasn't obsessing in the mirror about, does my body look good enough? I look bad. Like there was none of that. She finally felt like she had control. The big thing that she told me was she said, I feel like I'm me again, but better. And that's what I want for every single woman that is in this position, like Katie was, is I just want you to feel like you are you again, because that is the most powerful thing in the world. And then feeling like you're an even better version of you is even more powerful. And so that was one of the coolest things and one of the biggest shifts. So then the results looks a lot different, right? Looks like a completely different person. But that's because she just recaptured who she was and made it better. And that's what you're seeing here, a huge shift. Okay. And so within weeks, Katie started feeling better, more energy, less bloating. Her clothes were fitting again. Right. And in just 3 months, Katie lost 22 pounds and 10 inches off of her belly. Okay. She stopped yo yoing. She built real lean muscle. She toned her arms. She sculpted her legs. She shrunk her belly. She started loving the gym again. She started smiling more. She was wearing clothes she hadn't touched in years. How great does that feel? Right? That is the best feeling in the world. Right? Just putting on a pair of clothes you haven't worn in years. And she felt energized. And more importantly, she felt proud. She felt confident. She felt present with her kids. She felt free in her body. And the biggest thing is like she didn't just get leaner. Okay. Getting lean is awesome. But the thing that is better and the thing that Katie got is she got her life back. That's what this is really about. That is the most important thing in all of this. Okay. And so that's exactly how we did it with Katie. All right. And so here is the offer that helped Katie, and that this can help you too. Everything that I just broke down, you can literally go do this right now. Right. And you would see massive changes. But everything that I just broke down, it's all inside the Fit and Free method. Okay. And it's designed specifically for women who are in their 30s, in their 40s, who feel like their body just isn't responding anymore. Okay. So what you get inside of the Fit and Free method is you get the nutrition freedom protocol. This is how you're going to learn how to lose fat while eating the foods that you love, so that there's no more yo-yoing and there's no more food guilt. Okay. The next thing you get the hormone aware training plan. Okay. We start you with 3 weekly 60-minute strength training workouts that build muscle. Okay. Build that lean muscle and protect your hormones. And most importantly, work with your body and not against it. Then there's the accountability matrix. Okay. So you're going to get daily text message check-ins. All right. Holding you accountable, making sure you got everything done, working on areas we can improve, getting feedback from me, getting advice from me, right? Having 24/7 access to me to reach out at any point when you have any questions, when there is anything you're struggling with, when you need someone to listen, any of those types of things. There are weekly progress and accountability videos where we are going to literally go through, celebrating the wins, answering your long form questions and the big, things that you really want to go through that week, going through how you did the previous week, areas we need to double down on, areas we need to work on for improvement, and making sure that you are moving forward in your journey by setting habit-based goals for each week so that we can make sure that we are continuing to grow and become an even better version of ourselves. Then as well, you get the lifestyle reset toolkit. Okay. So you are going to fix your sleep, right? With a lot of the methods that I talked about earlier, right? Your energy is going to get better. Digestion is going to get better, right? We are going to go in depth on the techniques that you can use in which you can change your digestion, in which it is something that I have done and has been a game changer in my energy levels, the way I look, how I feel, all those different types of things. And I teach that to my clients and they're seeing massive results. There's actually another client that I have right now, her name is Kim. And that was the biggest thing for her coming in. And so we honed in on that day one. And in her first 2 weeks, she has lost 3 pounds. And she has also lost 4 inches off of her waist just from fixing her digestion and bloating. And so that's a big, big thing that we go through. And also mindset without, stress, right? And really reshifting the way that we're thinking about things and how we really want to look at our health and everything around it. And the biggest part of that as well is also that helps you have better sleep, right? When your mindset's in a better place, when you're less anxious, when you're less overwhelmed, you have that better sleep. You have higher energy. You have smarter habits. And most importantly, clear mindset tools that make consistency feel supernatural. And then here's the biggest thing, right? I hate when people just say, yeah, we're going to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. And then it's just like, it's not what you expect. So the biggest thing that we do is we take on all of the risk so that you can feel sure that your life is going to change, that your body is going to change, and that you're going to get the actual support that you need. So we have a risk-free guarantee that if you do not lose 15 pounds and 4 inches off your belly and build energy and build strength in the 24 weeks, we will coach you for free until you do, or we will give you the option to get all of your money back, a big fat check with all of your money back, plus $100 for us wasting your time. Okay? So there's absolutely no risk on your end to come in. The only risk is trying this on your own and hitting a wall and not essentially, getting, ultimately to the place where you want to get to. But outside of that, there is no risk. The only risk is, passing up on the opportunity, like I just said. And that's how I want it to feel for you. I want you to understand that, like, if you make the decision to do this, then you have the full support and you have our guarantee that just like Katie, your life will change. Okay. So here's what to do next. If you are a woman in your 30s or 40s who's ready to finally stop the yo-yo, if you're done with random workouts and restrictive diets, if you're tired of spinning your wheels, if you feel like you know what to do, but you can't do it. If you feel like you've tried everything, if you're sick of starting over every Monday, and most importantly, if you're ready to lose fat, feel amazing in your clothes, and be confident again, then the Fit and Free method might be your next step. Now, we don't work with everyone, right? We do have a strict qualification process to make sure that we are building a community of women who are all on the same purpose and really want to get to these goals. But that could be you, right? So if you believe this may be the next step for you, click the link in the description of this video, okay, to book a quick 10-minute strategy call with me to see if you're a fit. Here's the great part. Worst case scenario, right? If I don't think at this point yet we can help you, we'll send you some free resources so you literally have the exact next steps towards your goal and you can start making progress. So either way on this call, you will leave it and you will be able to go make progress immediately. Okay. Also, you can download this full breakdown if you want to run through all the stuff that we did, the exact method that we did to get Katie these results. This will be in the description as well. And listen to Katie tell you about her story here up next.
Hi everyone, my name's Katie. I've been working with Edward for about 2 months now. I've lost 5 pounds and 4 inches off my waist. He's taught me a completely new way of eating and working out. I am allowed to eat more than I've ever had in my entire life. I used to eat about 1,200 calories. He has me eating pretty much anything I want. I'm a busy mom of 3 boys, so that's super important to me to be active and healthy. Before I started this, I was eating pretty much low carb, counting my calories, walking every day, doing everything I was supposed to do, and nothing was happening. And he changed that. He showed me how to do it the correct way and for my body type. The only thing I would say that I was hesitant about was I thought I was going to be in the gym way more than I am, and I'm really not in the gym often. I'm in there about an hour a day. My boys love the gym. I love the gym. They look forward to it. They ask me, when are we going? Can we hurry up and get to the gym? Because they love it. I would recommend this to anyone, moms, dads, people with no kids, people with a million kids. Honestly, this is something that I'm going to be able to sustain for the rest of my life. It's not a fad diet. It's literally just how to live. And that's all I wanted to do, is live. And he showed me that.